Twitter is not real life. Twitter is not real life. Lakers fans are worried about their championship team that's lost 2 in a row. The Rockets have to use their best player, Christian Wood, more. And will the Heat recover from this poor start? I'm Tass Mellis, and this is what you need to know in the NBA for Friday, January 29th. Let's start with the Blazers and the Rockets, the first game of the TNT doubleheader on Thursday. Houston is a team I find it hard not to cheer for. I'm in the corner of John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Victor Oladipo. Maybe because they've suffered huge injuries in the past, major surgeries. And I'm an empathy guy. I want to see them recover. I want to see them fight and battle and get back to their old selves. Like John Wall said after the game, everybody on this roster has something to prove. Those 3 guys have been cast off by their old teams. It's a good story. But at the same time, they have suffered major injuries, and they've got a guy on their roster who's young and spry and should be dominating the league at the center spot. Christian Wood is playing well this year, but I think he should be featured a little bit more. He only had 12 shots against the Portland Trail Blazers. That usage rate should be higher. He is that good. Now, the Rockets won this game. They're down 20 early to the Blazers. They came back, and the Blazers shooting, because they love to shoot. They're last in the league in points in the paint. Their shooting almost overcame their defensive problems. They just allow too many buckets. The Rockets at full strength, though, should have beat this Blazers team up bad. CJ McCollum still out. He's out for at least a couple more weeks. Yusuf Nurkic also out for the Blazers. And this game shouldn't have gone down to the wire. I'm sure TNT would beg to differ with that. They had a game go down to the wire. It was exciting, but this Rockets team needs to find the right hierarchy. It's an interesting balance. Victor Oladipo going into a contract year, I think should be operating a little bit more within the system, and Christian Wood should be the guy scoring a ton. The Blazers continue to fire away from deep like they always do. And they got some performances. Dame Lillard, of course, he had 5 threes, 30 points overall. Gary Trent Jr. was the surprise. 7 threes, 23 points overall, and 3 of those threes were consecutive in the fourth quarter. That was a blast to watch. And Anthony Simons had 4 threes off the bench. Moving on to the Lakers and the Pistons. I know I shouldn't listen to the Twitterers, but they sucked me in because they got worried when they saw their team lose their second game in a row here on the road. It was a back-to-back. They lost to the Sixers on Wednesday. Then they lost to the Pistons when their team fell apart in the fourth quarter. They missed 12 straight shots. They had a 14-point fourth quarter. The Pistons went on a 16-0 run. Whoop-de-friggin-do. The Lakers started this season winning 10 straight road games. It's expected that they're going to have a bit of a drop-off, a bit of a fall-off. I thought that this would happen far more often this season, but the Lakers have been very impressive. So they're 3-2 on a 7-game trip. That's respectable. There's nothing wrong with this team. Even though LeBron had only 2 points in the second half, it was un-LeBron-like in this game. No Anthony Davis, right quad contusion. But big picture, this team is performing oh so well. I am shocked that they have the best defense in the league. I know they had it last year, but I thought with the changes they'd drop off a bit. LeBron's team in Cleveland, when they won a championship, their defense dropped off. You want to go early century Lakers here when they went back to back to back. Their team would be, just sort of lackadaisical. Night in and night out, maybe not show up. But this team has shown up, and I expect them to show up in Boston and Atlanta as they wrap up their road trip. In this game, Blake Griffin, he had his best game in a while. 23 points for him, 5 threes. He sees a Lakers jersey in front of him. He just has to perform, and he's loving life. He had a little laugh at LeBron, who was complaining about a flop. 5 threes for Blake. Man, how many threes has Blake hit in a game? Oh, I'm just getting this from my producer. 8 earlier this year. Wow, shocking. And 9 last season. Wow, great work, JD. Thanks for chiming in there. Really appreciate that. Veteran sharpshooter Wayne Ellington stays hot from deep for the Pistons. 6 of 9 from 3 in this one. He's 40 of 67 in his last 8 games. Only the 8th player in NBA history to have at least 7 straight games with 4 or more threes. Only 8 players have had 7 straight games with 4 or more threes. That's why earlier this week when the No Dunks crew said a guy will make 500 or 600 threes in an NBA season, that is poppycock. That's 6 or 7 a game for 82 games. I know that's a lot of numbers. Okay, one more. Wayne Ellington leads the NBA with a 53% three-point percentage, and someone's trading for that guy at the trade deadline. Somebody's taking a waiver on the 33-year-old who can fire away. Troy Weaver in the Pistons front office will be weaving some magic, trading away Wayne Ellington. That's a prediction. Clippers and Heat. It looked like Tyler Herro and his neck tape were going to be enough for Miami to snap their 4-game losing streak. Herro came back after missing 7 games with neck spasms. He scored 19 to lead Miami. They're up 18 points early on a Clippers team that didn't have Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. But the Clippers went on a run. These aren't your older brother's Clippers. These aren't your friends' Clippers. These aren't your bubble Clippers. 20-2 run in that third quarter. Nicola Batum had 18 points overall. He's a great story this year. Lou Williams had 17 overall. The Heat have lost 5 in a row. They didn't have 7 guys in this game. Let's make that clear. Jimmy Butler has been out for a while. He's questionable, should be back soon. Avery Bradley, Goran Dragic, Andre Iguodala, others are injured. But the Heat are 6-12. They're a quarter of their way through their season, and I still believe somehow that they're going to fight their way back and at least be in the mix for a top 4 seed and have championship aspirations. Maybe it's because I turn on that TV and I see the Heat's arena, the American Airlines Arena, American Airlines Center. I'm not sure which one it is, but I always get them confused. Either way, their Heat culture permeates through that television at me. I still believe that they will fight back when they do get healthy. I checked their championship odds. Now, don't gamble, but on MGM Bet, they're plus 2,200 to win the championship. Those are good odds. Now, they are a long shot, no doubt. But in the Eastern Conference, anybody can make it through. And if the Brooklyn Nets, who are the absolute favorite right now in the Eastern Conference, which is a little bit crazy with their defense, you never know if a Heat defense goes up against that Brooklyn Nets offense. Moving on to the last game of Thursday, Warriors and Suns. Kelly Oubre of the Golden State Warriors has been an interesting story this week. Now, he was once upon a time a Phoenix Sun. He's been traded 3 times, and it's interesting this week that he was in some more trade rumors. Steve Kerr said earlier this week, it's unfortunate, we got a call and someone asked about Kelly, didn't even make an offer, and then it was online. So then Steve Kerr went to Kelly Oubre, decided, hey, I'm going to address this with him directly. Then Kelly Oubre went and had a great game after Kerr talked to him. 20 points and 9 rebounds. Looking like his old self because he's had a bad season. But on Thursday, didn't have a very good night. He was 1 of 11, 4 points. As the Suns, they got a dub. They had lost 3 in a row. No shame in those losses. 2 OT games to Denver where they lost Devin Booker after the first one. Then they lost to the OKC Thunder. Then they got back on track versus the Warriors. It was mainly the role guys doing the job. Abdul Nader, making Egypt proud, had 16 points. Frank Kaminsky, making somewhere in America proud. He's from Illinois. 12 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. Some of those to Abdul Nader, setting him up. The Warriors just don't get enough offense outside of Steph Curry. He had 27 in this one, but Andrew Wiggins adding 16 and Kelly Oubre adding 4 points was not enough to beat the Phoenix Suns. Speaking of Kelly Oubre, are those trade rumors real? I find it hard to believe that they would trade him away this season. After a season of upheaval last year where they traded for D'Angelo Russell in the offseason, then they traded him midseason, I think they're going to go forward as payment to Steph, as payment to Draymond Green, as payment to this organization with what they got and try and be good. I mean, they exclaimed in the offseason that, hey, we're going for it when they traded for Kelly Oubre. They're paying $14 million in salary for Oubre plus $68 million in luxury tax fees for Kelly Oubre. And I guess there is a world where they blow it up, considering they don't have Klay Thompson, and it would be difficult to see them in the NBA Finals with their current roster, but I do not. I see them going forward with this team and seeing what they can get out of Oubre, trying to get him back to what he did on Wednesday, 20 points and 9 rebounds. I think it's a respectable start to the season for them at 10-9. Same for the Suns, who have climbed back over 500 at 9-8. Couple quick notes. Greg Popovich, Spurs head coach, got his first dosage of the COVID-19 vaccine. He is 72 years old. And you can vote for your NBA All-Stars now at NBA.com. And it's my 1-year-old's first birthday. Noah's birthday today, so I gotta go give some hugs. That's why you may be getting this video/audio a little bit earlier today, because we like our early hugs here in my household. Gotta run. I will be back on Monday to give you the news as fast as I possibly can. Make sure you check out Friday's The Drop episode wherever you get no dunks. See you Monday.